kind of you talked a lot about how the game plan was to slow Green and Anderson down. Obviously, Baylor's point guard is kind of at a different level. What is sort of going to be the game plan, and since he makes kind of everything run for them?
I think, first of all, I think he's a professional player. He can dribble, pass, shoot. He plays unselfishly. And I just think that guys like him are very, very difficult to stop. All you can do from that situation is slow him down. Try to slow him down the best you can and try to make him defend. But again, he's a senior. He's really, really, really good, and we have a lot of respect for him. But at the same time, we're looking forward to competing against him.
Coach, we know you don't care about where you play, who you play. Kind of on the road, you won. What does that do with the confidence right now?
I think it does a great deal. The one thing we have to guard against is being overconfident because there's a lot of elation because we accomplished that small milestone in my mind, from where I want this program to go in the future. And the thing is, going into the next game, for us to go and, as I say, we get a +1 on the road to come and lose a home game will kind of deflate that bubble a little bit. So we need even more focus going into this Baylor game because, our goal is to be one of the leaders in this conference. And to do that, you have to win at home in the Big 12. So, again, we got one up by winning one on the road, and we need to take care of business at home on Tuesday.
Trancy, when he got here, was talked about as a guy who could be kind of a lockdown type defender as he developed, and certainly he had a very good defensive game on Saturday. What kind of will his role be with Pierre?
I mean, again, he and a number of the guys will be just to slow him up. Pierre is one of those special players. I mean, you're not going to steal the ball from him. And he's going to make plays. I mean, you can't expect him to go through a game and not make a lot of plays because that's why he's preseason player of the year, because he's proved his valor and he can do those things. All we can do is tell our guys to follow the game plan, not take it as a personal challenge. We play them as a team. And if he makes a couple of shots, let's stay together. And things start getting where he's having a good time, because there's going to be a point in the game where they're going to make a run, and it's going to be because of him, because everything flows through him. So what we have to do is we just have to stay more together and not, get all frantic when those things start happening. And remember, we're at home, and hopefully our crowd, not hopefully, I know our crowd will be behind us, and we'll have a great crowd here. And we just really just got to keep our composure when they make those Baylor runs, where they get up and down the court, and just follow our game plan to the T.
Talk about the toughness of the Big 12. You're coming off your first road win, first Big 12 win. You've got Baylor coming in here, and then you've got Kansas also this week. Is it kind of like you're like, okay, great, and now all of a sudden you've got a tough week ahead of you?
That's what we play for. That's what we've been waiting for. I mean, and that's why, those guys come to play for Texas Tech. That's what you sell in recruiting, and that's the great part of Texas Tech being in the Big 12. That same reality works for every school. And, it's not about highs and lows. That's why I was just telling the guys a minute in the locker room, you can't get too high and you can't get too low. You can't get too high from this win. And then if things don't go the way we want, whenever the next game is or whenever that happens, I don't expect that to happen tomorrow, you can't get too low because you have another game. And it's just a matter of the discipline of going into games, knowing that we are playing as hard as we can play for 40 minutes and we can live with the outcome.
Coach, when you say that, how do you kind of keep them kind of even keeled? We won and we lost, but how do you try to keep a happy medium right there?
Well, the bottom line is it's all about our attitude. It's about our habits. Try to keep everything even keel, stay on them, and keep my attitude the same and my energy level the same. Nothing changes. They don't see any changes in me. I am the leader, and I got to lead by example, and I don't get too high. And I don't get too low. So it starts with me and what I bring to the table. And the bottom line is, kids are kids, and every game plan is different. So there's a different type of focus that's going to go to each game anyway. So they're going to be more excited to play certain teams than other teams, and I may not have to do as much to get them fired up. And it's just a feel for the team. And when I see that I need to do more, then I get after them a little bit more.
On Saturday, you said you talked to guys about throwing their egos in the ring, and you said you kind of had to do that yourself and sort of simplify and kind of change what you maybe wanted to do with these guys. What was some of the things you thought you had to simplify, and maybe things that weren't quite ready for this group to take on?
Well, I mean, the number one thing is, a lot of pressing, just the intricacy of pressing so many different ways because we're playing so many different people and we have so many different young guys. And as the pressure mounts and as you start adding more stuff, it's just a lot to retain. And, it takes guys some years sometimes to put in a system. And really is what you're trying to put in the system. And right now we don't have time to put in a system. We need more consistency. So what I tried to do is find the best way for us to play the most consistent. So when you're on the court, you know exactly what's going to happen. So there's not a lot of wondering, oh God, what's going to happen this time if we do this? Is this guy going to remember that? Well, let's simplify it and make sure that at any given time we're guarding people, we're rebounding. Guys know exactly where they're supposed to be at all times because it's hard. Some of these guys in high school never had to remember a play before. Some of these guys never had any responsibilities. And now they come here and they got 6, 7 different presses. They got 20 offenses. They got this many OBs plays. Then they got to remember the other team stuff or scouting report. It's a lot for these guys. And then adding the pressure of school and just the pressure of being a college basketball player in and of itself is a lot going on. So as a coach, you have to have a good feel for these things, minimize the distractions for them, and put them in the best situation to be successful.
Who was the first person to congratulate you not in Fort Worth about the victory over TCU?
Oh, wow. Not in Fort Worth, that'll be by text. Probably my mom, who's my biggest critic. She watches every interview and says, you say this too much, you say that too much. So she's always on me and critiquing every single word that comes out of my mouth. And she, she was very happy that we won the game. And then she watched the replay and says, you know what, you look angry too much. so it's just funny. You're always under the microscope, even with the family.
Coach, equal the win total from last year. Kind of what does that say about your team and going forward, especially not just this year but in years to come? Kind of explain how it's going, kind of keep getting better for you guys.
As far as that's concerned, I'll let you know when we win the 9th game. But no, it's a good feeling. Again, it comes back to what I said before about not getting too high, not getting too low. We're just looking for the next game on the schedule. I'm not even thinking about the record. That's not important to me. I think that team last year achieved a lot of things, even though they only won 8 games. And this team has won 8 games so far, and there's a lot of things left to achieve. And the number one and most important thing is just growth as a team with so many new guys from so many different – you got freshmen, you got junior college players, and you got guys who sat out because of injury. You got a lot of different things, a lot of different moving parts there, and who've never played in the Big 12. So now they're going to play in the Big 12 tomorrow against a very quality opponent who in the last 3 or 4 years have been to 2 Final Eights. They got a lot of talent, and I just think that it's a great chance, not an obstacle, a great chance as an opportunity to do something special. And that's how we do it. We take it one game at a time, one game plan at a time, and the number one thing is us staying together. As we said before, that circle of trust, throwing those Eagles into the pile, whatever it takes for that particular game to win the game is what we want to do.
Having been a long-time assistant who would have to be ready when something like what's going on with Baylor and Coach Tang having to come in, do you expect anything different out of them because of their coaching situation?
No, Coach Tang's a very good friend, and so is Scott Drew, and no, I think they're going to do exactly what they do. They have a lot of talent. And they're not a very difficult team as far as their schemes. Their talent really carries them a lot, and they just move people around and put them in positions to be successful. And they have an unbelievable playmaker, which makes things a whole lot easier. So I don't think Coach Tang will come out and do anything different than Scott Drew. I think he has a lot of respect for Coach. He's going to do the same system, do the same things that Scott would do. So I don't expect anything different. No.
Coach, this is just like you said at the beginning of the year, your dream job. Kind of from that point till now, are you excited about this? How are you feeling about everything?
I mean, it's been great. I mean, I think it's been wonderful, and I'm so happy that Texas Tech gave me this opportunity. Every time I see Chancellor Hance or Dr. Skovanek or Kirby Holcutt, I can't be any happier with the opportunity that Tech has given me. I love Tech. I love the enthusiasm people have for the university. I had the opportunity to be with the 50th anniversary team that won the first 2 championships here. I mean, what a great moment to see those guys and their affection for the university and how they still love the university, and being able to be in a room with those guys to see that circle of trust is still going, 50 years from now. And I actually told the guys that's something that I dream for them one day. So it's just been a surreal thing for me, and obviously learning on the go, because that's what you're doing. That's just the reality of it. I'm learning a lot of things, as I mentioned before, about making adjustments, learning my team, having a vision of how you want to play for 20 years, and all of a sudden you look at your team and you're like, well, we got to do this. Well, we need to put Dusty in there. We need to, that's coaching to me. There's a lot of things that people believe coaching is, but when you start making adjustments and you coach during the game and you make, quick decisions and you got to do disciplinary type stuff, it's hard. It's harder than people believe. And I'm just so happy that I got an opportunity, my first opportunity to do all those things and to learn at Texas Tech.
You guys have a smaller assistant staff than most, and what has it kind of been like with those guys in terms of roles that they have? Because I'd imagine it's been maybe a little bit more than maybe a normal staff has to do, just because you guys are a little bit shorthanded.
We are a little bit shorthanded, but I will tell you this: it's all about organization. I think those guys are, they're guys that are seasoned veterans. They do a great job of basketball wise. They do a great job relating to the kids, and they do a great job during the games. And so they're really good coaches who give me the opportunity to do some other things because we are short, so most of our responsibilities are increased just a little bit. But we did some restructuring of some responsibilities to kind of like help with some things so guys could spend more time with the players. I can spend more time doing some other things. But it's been great so far. Obviously, another hand, another pair of eyes would never hurt. But in this sense, less has been more for us right now.